going to try for the first time to talk about something that I use when I'm working with people to help allow them to engage something that's perhaps a feeling inside but very vague, or something they're trying to avoid. But the whole point of it is if invoke the energy or full body feeling that they're trying to disengage from, to bring it in so that they can have the experience of relaxing around it, of breathing and allowing it to flow through their whole space, which is the circle. So this is a way, and this is all involved with the medicine of one, which I've explained more on other videos, of this sense of nothing gets thrown out of the circle. And when we bring something into the circle, it's you're trying to bring in not an idea, but the actual feelings that you've rejected and pushed out of the circle for your soul's whole experience or journey through that experience, which could be much vaster than what you may have a historical memory of. And that in that simple act of, rather than tensing around it, holding our breath around it, or allowing it to drive our mind in an attempt to get rid of it or control it, we're reversing a habit by relaxing, breathing, becoming as if the circle around it, which is you as an aware, loving presence that holds no judgment. So when I'm out on the land and I'm working with somebody, if perhaps they're on a retreat or a vision quest, or I may just be doing what I call coming to the center, it's these real specific moments where I'll give them a form with their body, sometimes a sound, and that sound has a particular tone, volume, note as if to it. And when you combine the two, the feeling rushes in. So these can be feelings anywhere from terror, joy, laughter, shame, jealousy, self-hate. No matter what it is, even feelings that we can't even put a word to. I'll give you one. Now, normally I would be using the whole body, I'd be standing up, but today I've just chosen to use the upper half of my body. And I'm not actually trying to train you how to do this. What I'm really trying to do is to explain in a way the subtlety of these emotional energy movements within us, and that in engaging them, what we think we want to stay away from, it actually frees us. People often remark of the sense of being lighter, more open, more here, in an instant. So one of the movements that I frequently use is a movement with the hands. And if I raise my shoulders and bring my hands in even more, it's even stronger, okay? So you can see how my voice went into that movement, okay? And that's what I'm going to try to do as I'm doing this. I'm just going to keep talking, and then I'll just change my position, and even the position of my head and my shoulders, and you'll hear something come into me, even as I just move my body into these forms. Something changes. something changes and it becomes different. And that's what you need to understand, okay? So, what has to be developed, though, in order to do this, is that the web between your emotional being, your physical being, and even your mental being become integrated in one membrane, as if, so that the change in that position can immediately be touched and felt just by going here. And then the idea is that you breathe. And you relax. And you think of this surrender and down. And so what seemed like a painful energy kind of shifts, changes, transforms. There's a liberation of what's been trapped for who knows how long. Another one that I just did today was with the body just stiff against like this. And at first you're like this, screaming, you're paralyzed basically. And you're screaming at your body to run, and the more you scream, the more you push together. And so that feeling of panic comes in, and nobody likes to feel panic. Nobody. Panic sits right here, and we try to push away from it. Our breath becomes this shallowness, and the key to being free of that panic is, rather than this, is this. And breath. And this movement is a breath and a sigh and a surrender. Now, if I added to this place and I opened my eyes and I used the tone, for instance, to say, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. There's a very specific feeling that comes in that I cannot quite describe. It's almost as if I'm terrified of my own shame. That's a difficult sort of thing as a concept to take into, well, what's that feel like? But these very specific movements, for instance, if I do this and I say, see me, an awareness comes in. Within this form is this desire to be seen, heard, loved, and yet I'm hiding. I'm blocking anything from coming in. But it's when you do the movement and you give the sound, and perhaps there's particular words, something enters you, which most people initially will tense around, okay? We want to tense around it because we hate it. We hate these feelings of helplessness, powerlessness, shame, guilt. And so we're thinking, which immediately, the minute you start to think, you become more tense. No matter what you're thinking about. I was just recently working with someone, and I asked them to show, it was a feeling of, I think it was their fear, but they actually, what they did was this. And the minute you do this, there's shame, and then there's that terror. So you can see how this actually energizes it even more and takes them even more into the core of that. Now, of course, usually you're standing up. Sometimes you can lay, so you can lay on your back, but sometimes it's just a sound like, but And when you add that to okay, that feeling comes in. Now this isn't acting or faking. It has to be true, authentic. You have to commit yourself to it. Some people, though, some people
Hi, this is Clay with Sacred Healing Journeys. Please just leave your message after the tone. I'll get back to you just as soon as I can, and please have a beautiful...
We'll see if I leave that in. I didn't record it, but some people don't even know the emotional language, which is sensorial feeling. So they might do these and their face remains totally blank. By keeping it blank, they maintain a disconnection or dissociation from what's happening down here. This can be very effective if you're a soldier, but in life, it's not very helpful. And most of the people that come to me, they want to live in the center of the circle of who they are. And it's usually these energetic, emotional movements that they've tried to push out that pulls them out of the center. And that by consciously choosing to bring them back into the circle and engage them and relax and be as if love around them, that peace, calm, harmony, and the sense of moving back into this centeredness and a love for themselves just begins to be in their space and around them. And yes, it is possible to learn this. What happens though is I just had an experience where I did this for someone and I had to do it, and immediately they would start sobbing and crying almost no matter what I did. The victim would come in and own it. Even though I might be hitting a particular different note, the victim would come in and own it. But what happens is the more I have them do that and relax around them, that energy no longer comes in and they're able to hit the right note, so to speak. Whereas before that, that's an energy they don't know. They don't know what that feels like. So by freeing and loving something that you hate, another energy can now come into you that becomes part of your natural expression and music of who you are. And that is the whole point. It's not about getting rid of anything or letting go of anything. It's about liberation and transformation. And this, through this use of the body, for instance, if I had my hands in a prayer movement, okay? So if I hold them here, I have a whole different feeling than when I bring them up here. Somehow up here I feel softer. I feel more open, more honored. Now if I bring it up here, I seem to slow down. I seem to want to move more into a place of being quiet, still, connected through and through. But it takes a while to develop this skill, and this skill is very much of an integral part of the shamanic work that I do with people and how I engage what is inside of them that needs to be moved. It comes to me in these forms, so to speak. But it comes through this integration of your psychological, emotional, physical being, that they all kind of move and flow together. And that is, after all, what I'm trying to have for these people, so that, in a sense, all the four directions come in and are balanced, and that person can live in the center of the circle of who they are. And I'm going to revisit this. This is the first time I've talked about it, but I think that's enough for now.